Well, it began on a U.S. football field as a simple protest against racism and social injustice. It has since spread across the country, infuriated the U.S. president, and has now found supporters on this side of the Atlantic. Here in the German capital, the city's Bundesliga soccer team, Hertha Berlin, took a knee just before their match this weekend. The action was a show of solidarity with American football players in the NFL, who have also been kneeling or locking arms during the U.S. national anthem. Well, Hertha released a statement after Saturday's game. Hertha BSC stands for diversity and against violence. That's why we're joining the American athletes' protest and sending a strong signal to fight discrimination. We are for a Berlin that stays open to the world in the future. The move has also attracted attention in the U.S. Black Lives Matter activist Sean King tweeted, "Wow, the players from Hertha Berlin took a knee in solidarity with American athletes protesting injustice." But it was not all praise. Some called the action a PR stunt. The team and trainers should focus on sport, not politics. Taking a knee is it's a very complex subject. Yeah, complex and emotional.
Definitely.
Chris is here from our sports desk. I mean, first things first, we were talking about this earlier. I would venture that a lot of people on both sides of the Atlantic, when they even talk about this, they don't even know exactly what they're talking about. Because in the U.S., this story is a lot longer than just the tweets of Donald Trump.
Yeah, of course. You know, in terms of what they did, it just says that Hertha Berlin is listening. Mm-hmm. And I think it speaks volumes that, as you mentioned, this is happening across the pond, and they still can relate and they show their support, because we all know that the world of football behind FIFA has had many campaigns to fight racism. And if you look at the initial reasoning behind at least what the players have put forward to say what the protesting was about, it's rooted in racism and social injustice. So this is nice to see, and fitting in Berlin, the capital city, Germany. It's nice. I applaud the effort.
Do you think that it was a reaction to the tweets and the derogatory comments that have been coming from Donald Trump?
No, I think definitely Donald Trump has stoked the fire, added fuel in his own right, because when he goes to Twitter, the world responds.
Well, I mean, it probably wouldn't even be a story over here had he not tweeted about it, right?
Of course. I don't think it would have had the legs that, it's been showing, that it carries at this point. But, yeah, of course, when he makes those tweets, the world responds. And we can't forget, the Bundesliga constantly goes to the United States, so there is that connection. Yeah. They train, because you can argue that Florida, California, and such has better weather to offer than Germany at times of the year.
And it does. All right, I want us to take a look at the latest Trump tweet about the NFL. We can pull that up and show our viewers. Trump tweeted, "Why is the NFL getting massive tax breaks while at the same time disrespecting our anthem, flag, and country? Change the tax law." Now, he is throwing in so many things right there with that tweet. I mean, but he's trying to throw patriotism into sports, where you've already got people exercising their right to protest. I mean, what is he doing?
Well, I think for those that don't know or that are unaware, Trump has a bone to pick with the NFL. He has an ugly history with the NFL. He was once an owner in a competitive league, tried to overtake the NFL. That was a failed situation. Then a few years ago, before he became President Trump, well before he was a nominee as well, a candidate as well, he tried to buy an NFL franchise team. That was a failed bid. So he has some issues there. I think he was locked out of that good old boy network that the owners, I believe, have, and that exists.
It's amazing to see a U.S. president have the NFL against him. I mean, I don't think there's any time in history where we've seen that.
Right, and we've never had a president in history that uses Twitter. On a regular basis either. And, a person who I think is so divisive, you could argue, and I think a lot of people do believe that his comments are intended to divide. And I do support that, because he controls the narrative. The narrative initially was about one issue, and it's become something else.
What about the narrative here in Germany? I mean, you've got these players here who are taking a knee, and it goes back to my first question. Their audience, do they get the message here? I mean, Are there similarities? Let's just talk about social injustice and racism.
Right.
Are they speaking to the same things that African-American athletes are speaking to?
Well, in a specific way, no. Because we're talking about, some could argue the unlawful killing of a lot of unarmed African Americans. This has been making, headlines for the last few years. And that was the reasoning behind the protests in the United States.
Right.
But the idea of racism, and it's all related to the sense of racism. As I mentioned before, FIFA has had these campaigns going. We've seen the ugly side of racism.
Right here in Germany, too, right?
Right, of course. Some chants and things like this. You see this. It does exist. And I think that it's important, athletes being role models at the end of the day as well. People follow their examples. And I think it's wonderful that they've set this example, because if you can look on the wall, you see Solomon Kalou.
Yeah.
Solomon Kalou, he has African roots.
Right.
If he's walking down, a street in the United States, no one could distinguish him from an African American. Right. So, and he was one of the people, I think, that fueled this initiative. Because afterwards, a lot of the players kind of patted him on the back, and then he came out to Twitter, spreading more messages such as the heart is too tiny to carry hate, things like this.
Yeah, which is a good way to end this talk as well. Chris Harrington, as always, it's good to have you on the day. Good talking with you. If we had more time, we'd fill it up easily, wouldn't we?
Okay.
All right, thank you very much. The day is nearly done, but as always, the conversation continues online. You'll find us on Twitter, either at DW News or write to me, Brent Goff TV. Don't forget to use the hashtag #TheDay. And remember, whatever happens between now and then, tomorrow is another day. We'll see you then.